All yours.
All right. I'd like to call the meeting of the Board of Zoning Appeals to order for the Village of Lansing at 7:01. It's May. May 3rd, 2022. And good evening, everyone. I am going to open the meeting by, I think we still have a hearing that's open, right?
That's correct.
So we don't need to open a public hearing.
No.
For,
We just need to close it after.
we'll close it after we're done. So we are operating with a public hearing that we opened at our last meeting regarding H&J or the Luna Catering potential purchase of the H&J Catering facility up on East Shore Drive. So that happens to be first on our agenda, so we will go right to continuing discussion about this. And we put everything on hold at last meeting, pending a letter of support from the bankruptcy trustee, which we now have received. So would you like to explain a little bit about that, or we can continue?
Yeah, sure. Thanks for everybody for coming together so quickly, by the way. We very much appreciate that. So we got the letter, I believe it was sent over to Ms. French, and I think it kind of self-explanatory what it contained. The people with the current interest in the property and the hardship are joining the motion, and in hopes that we can get the variance.
This makes it much more clear that the hardship was not self-created, that it was in fact a result of an unfortunate closing, a bankruptcy in the midst of the COVID pandemic, which didn't allow them to keep the facility at least open while they were trying to sell it. And therefore keeping it grandfathered in, since it's in a non-conforming use, it's in an area where its use is non-conforming. And it's a use that goes back before the village was created in 1974. So everyone remembers it as a restaurant under one name or another from way, way, way back. So at this point, I think what we need to do is to go through the
You can either, should you close the
Close the public hearing, and then we can go through the findings.
the findings, right? That's what I was
And
looking for
then-
the word for findings. Could I have a motion to close the public hearing?
Also move.
And a second? John, okay, Roy, John seconded, all in favor? Aye, opposed? None? This is it, all right, motion passed. So now what we need to do is to go through, well, let me read the here. I'll be brief. I'm not going to read the whole thing. But this matter involves consideration of the following proposed action. Appeal number 2022-01. Kevin Sullivan, owner and operator of Catering by Luna, is requesting a use variance for the property located at 1638 East Shore Drive. The original low traffic food and beverage use for this parcel was a non-conforming use, a low-density residential district, but it was allowed as per Village Code Section 145-65. Since then, the former owner can discontinue use for longer than 12 months. That was the condition that would keep it as a restaurant food service kind of facility in the non-conforming zone, but unfortunately they were unable to have any kind of use within the building. And so that elapsed, which means that it's now completely non-conforming. Therefore, requiring the parcel use to conform with the low density residential district regulations. The applicant is appealing for a use variance for the low traffic food and beverage. So what we need to do is to go through our discussion as we always do with the findings. And this one is a little special, unlike, because I'm going to read this under applicable zoning regulations, the applicant cannot obtain a reasonable economic return as determined in the sole discretion of the Board of Zoning Appeals from the property in question, which insufficient return must be established by competent financial evidence satisfactory to the Board of Zoning Appeals. And I believe we've received that information. That you have provided us with information, and it's been clear that since this wasn't self-created, you could not operate it as a farmer's market or whatever it might possibly be allowed to do up there in that zone. So our finding, yes.
My opinion on all of that was that because now the trustee is on the application and they've been trying to sell it for 2 years, it's clear that they cannot get a reasonable economic return without this being zoned this way. So I think that's a very strong argument.
Okay.
in favor of that, personally.
Okay, thank you. That's helpful. So we then have our finding is that it was, they would be unable to achieve the proper financial return given the situation that it's in right now. We couldn't continue, he couldn't continue to use the facility without the variance in any other way than as a farmer's market, which we know probably isn't going to work up on East Shore Drive. Why that still has that in there, I'm not sure. I do remember that there was some sort of agricultural, it wasn't a district, but there was some kind of a designation for somebody who was selling Adirondack furniture up there next to the old, what was the old North 40, which is now Lake Watch. And apparently they gave them sort of an agricultural designation for that property so they could sell stuff along the roadside, because that would be like a farmer's market that you're selling at the roadside. They put their furniture out and people would stop and buy it. I don't know whatever happened with that.
I don't know, there's not much there. I mean,
There isn't much there.
there's probably 10, 15
Houses,
residents or lots or whatever
Yeah.
up there that's underneath it.
right?
So,
So I think with what you said and what you have provided us, that this situation, it's quite clear that you would not be able to achieve an economic return were it not to get the use variance.
Also, just to add under that, because I do think it was mentioned last time that the property is now turnkey for the use that you'll be using it. You won't have to demolish or rebuild anything.
You don't have to invest a
Use it,
lot in
yeah.
it either. Yeah, thank you. Because otherwise, if it were to revert to residential, the whole thing would have to be torn down and somebody would have to redevelop the lot.
Mhm.
And it seems unlikely, right on one of the busier highways in this area, that anyone would want to put a house right in on that road, but people do those things.
just letting the board members know that unlike how we do this with the Zoom, if you don't mind, I'm gonna take notes and then I'll
That's
kind
fine.
of summarize what you guys are saying on all 4 questions and then
Good.
instead of going right through it.
That's fine. So are we all agreed and comfortable with the first finding? You want to add anything? Okay. The second is the alleged hardship relating to the property in question is unique and does not apply to a substantial portion of the district or neighborhood.
I think that's right.
Clearly,
I agree. I agree.
all reasons discussed 2 weeks ago,
But,
for all the reasons discussed 2 weeks ago. I think
Yeah.
Clearly.
okay. The next is the requested use variance, if granted, will not alter the essential character of the neighborhood.
That's true. It's been a restaurant as long as I've been around.
Right. Well, that is not very long, Roy.
That's a long time.
I agree. All right. So we all agree. The alleged hardship has not been. I believe we've made that clear that this was a result of just happenstance and bad timing on the part into the business. So we've gone through the findings. And it is hereby determined that the Village of Lansing Board of Zoning Appeals, that the following variance is either granted or denied. And so would you like me to ask for a motion to grant the variance?
Motion for either way, yeah. whatever.
Either way. Could I have a motion to grant the variance?
Granted.
John moved. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Roy seconded. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, let's vote. All those in favor? Aye. The variance is granted.
Excellent. We're very excited to be your neighbor.
Well, we're excited to see what you do.
How soon is this closing and happening for you guys?
Tomorrow.
Awesome.
Nice.
Really?
I'm very glad we caught this issue and that it went through the proper channels, got it all done, because we would have, as Natalie pointed out last time, what I already knew from my reading and Nate's understanding is we would have been in deep trouble if we
Well,
last one.
Yes.
the letter was.
Very helpful.
Yeah,
Oh, well, thank you.
everybody seems to have been really reasonable in all of this, and we're just trying to follow our letter of our law and our guidance.
I pushed back when they tried to push before and just said, listen, if you got a better buyer, do it, but I can't buy this until I go
Mhm.
through the channels. So thank you very much. All your-
Congratulations.
Good luck to you.
See some activity very soon, and I'll be in touch about, what else we need to do there.
Stop and see.
Thanks,
Just
Kevin.
one quick question, and I'd like to thank Natalie French and the board for all your assistance today. This is fantastic.
Oh,
Will we get some sort of document in writing that becomes I don't know if it's a resolution or a letter from Ms. French or whatever is appropriate, but like, what could we expect that would be like the appropriate way to document this for our file?
Nathan, I can email you the resolution if you'd like, after it's been signed by our clerk. That makes it official.
That'd be fantastic. I would really appreciate that. And thanks so much for all of your assistance and help tonight. You guys have been very, very helpful, and we're very much looking forward to being your partner moving forward. So.
thank you.
Thank you.
Bye. All right,
Thank you.
Thank you.
all right, that takes care of that one.
You got in trouble.
Uh-oh,
Long story.
long story. The next on our agenda is appeal number 2022-1, a use variance. Oh, sorry, that's two. I just did that one. Appeal number 2022-2. We will need a public hearing to consider Gary and Janice Ormsby would like to subdivide an existing parcel into.
Yeah.
Could I have a motion to open the public hearing, please? John moves. Is there a second?
Did we close the?
Yeah, we did.
Sure, I'll second.
Okay, right. All those in favor? Aye. All right, motion, public hearing open. I feel rusty. I feel really.
One and we're in May now.
I know. You got to jump in there. So would you like to talk to us about, explain to us your project?
Well, we heard from you guys like 6 months ago, right?
Yeah,
Or so?
good. A while back.
Yeah, I mean,
October.
just briefly, sorry, Gary, just briefly.
Go ahead.
He came in, yeah, what was it, 6 months ago?
The October meeting.
Yeah, basically as an informal, and you reviewed what she was proposing. At the time, we didn't know whether one lot was going to be conforming while the other lot was going to need the area variance, or how it was going to be split up. Either way, you had recommended that that Jan find some way to prove that whatever the subdivision looked like, that a septic system could be installed in, well, obviously there's one on the existing lot, but another one could be installed on whatever lot was separated in the subdivision, and that's how Gary Bush came about. Well, it's not how you came about, but that's.
This is the follow-on then, is what your take is on septic design.
And they know we stood in front of the planning board last week.
Yep, they've been in front of the planning board.
Okay,
And basically, the planning board has recommended coming to you folks, which we. is what's gonna happen.
okay, so may I just ask if the septic system can be designed for
It's
substandard,
actually shown where it could go on this map here.
that's this one.
Okay.
I think the printouts you guys have got cut off slightly, but the important information is there, so. The upper left corner shows the
Yeah, there's,
leach field and 100% replacement area. There's lots of room on these lots. So,
I mean, the real issue is that if one fails, you need replacement.
so anytime you create a lot, you have to show, there's no municipal sewer.
Right.
You have to show that not only do you have room for a septic system, but septic systems fail after a while.
Right.
And you also have room for a replacement system.
Which has to be on another piece of land. I mean, it has to be elsewhere. It can't, people don't ever just dig up the existing system and put it back in.
Sometimes they can, and with the sand filter itself, you can do that because you're literally digging out the old sand and just replacing it with new sand.
Mhm.
But the downstream leach field after the sand filter, that needs to go in a different place.
Uh-huh.
I mean, I suppose theoretically you could dig it all out, but
That'd be huge.
it's kind of frowned
That's
upon.
everything.
And then after the original field has sat for 2 years, then you could reuse that. So
Oh.
that becomes then the replacement area for.
Oh, huh, I didn't know that. All right, then, so what we're looking at are a subdivision into 2 lots, each of which is smaller than our minimum lot required for the residential.
Right, so can I speak to that for just a second?
Yes, please.
So we did look at just making one of the lots conforming
Mhm.
and then leaving the other one as just a small lot. But that made the second lot, the smaller lot, just unreasonably small.
Yeah, which you'd never be able to do anything with then.
I mean, theoretically you could, but it just, I think it makes more sense to keep the
Lots, and these were 2 separate lots years ago, I believe.
And they were.
just like the
The lot directly to the south of this one is a 300-foot lot, and that was shown on the survey that I got from Jan. That was also I think it was either just proposed to be a subdivision and it never got divided, or it did get divided and then got recombined, or, that's where I believe it was Thomas Associates, where they started. That
Where is the existing septic tank for the existing house?
It's, it got cut off there, but
Might be just to the south of the edge of the,
So it's gonna
Yeah.
be pond radius. It's
somewhere below
not
that.
allowed to be that close to a pond. Is it?
I think the pond put in after the septic system
worked.
and the replacement system actually fits directly south of the existing house, the replacement one. So that's the other thing that we looked at is not only can you fit 2 septic systems on the new parcel, but is there still room for a replacement system on the existing? So we did.
Sure, and that is totally conforming, having the one down, the replacement area down there.
There's a structure that's already up. There's a structure there. Storage
It's
barn.
just a shed.
Oh, it's a shed. Okay, right, it's not a house.
Another advantage they have too, on this municipal water, is if they had to have a well, you're talking about being 100.
Oh, wait, right,
Difficult to
that
adjust.
is. I remember, wellheads have to be very far from septic.
And as you guys are probably aware, there's plans for a municipal sewer to go in between East Shore Drive and.
I keep saying that,
I mean, there has been plans for a long
long time.
I keep saying the 12th of never because we just don't know when that's going to go in.
Yeah,
Is the plan to just sell this to a stranger? Is it going to a family member? Like what is
So
the?
the plan is to sell the existing house
Mhm.
and then build a new house that is more conducive to aging in place.
Oh, on the new lot.
On the new lot, yep, on the subdivided lot.
All right.
Is it weird to have the 2 driveways touching each other? I just don't know a whole lot about.
That's not uncommon. There'll likely just have to be a driveway agreement between the owners that goes on record.
Yeah, so there can be an official driveway agreement, or they could literally just
Put some railroad ties at the property line and they each have their own driveway.
It's not uncommon, though.
Uh-huh, okay. And then how friendly they are.
Yeah.
Okay. Are there other questions from the panel on the plans? Things? Anybody else have any questions about the actual design? What is typically the life now of a new septic system?
Generally,
No, it's so variable.
yeah, it's between 20 and 30 years typically, but there are some out there 60 years old.
Mine's 40. But
That's old.
it's old, and it went in new. But
A lot of it has to do with
how heavily it's used.
that, but also the characteristics of the soil. You know, a more open sandy soil is gonna last a lot longer than than more clay.
I'm surprised. What is it about? Anyway,
And it's also depends on the size of it based on, compared to, so if it's designed for a 3-bedroom and it's just you and, one other person, maybe, it's more than double what it needs to be.
that's
So,
why it's lasted so long. 'Cause it doesn't get a lot of use.
Yeah.
All right, I would like to go through our required questions, but let me just describe this for our record keeping. This matter involves consideration of the following proposed actions. We'll be doing this twice because there are 2 lots. So we're going through the first one, which is lot A1, and then there's a lot A2. O2, Gary Ormsby is proposing a subdivision of an existing parcel located at 2570 North Trickheimer Road, which contains 1.92 acres or 82,760 feet, located in the medium density residential. Lot A1 would be 0.97 acres, 42,000 square feet, and contain the existing home. Minimum lot size as per village code is 1.37 acres, 60,000 square feet. The applicant is asking for a variance resulting in a 17,891 square foot deficiency of the village code. So, and like with the other things, it's a type 2 action, so we don't have to go through seeker. So what we should do now is go through the findings. So here, the first finding is whether an undesirable change will be produced in the character of the neighborhood or detriment to nearby properties will be created by granting the area variance. What say you?
Have you spoken with your neighbors about this?
I spoke actually the northern neighbor
Mhm.
it would most affect. She was here at the
planning board.
planning board meeting.
Mhm.
So
And they're in support and happy with it?
she didn't seem to object. Her only objection or her only concern really is just, she doesn't want her southern view blocked because she gets a beautiful view down the valley. But her,
And south is down.
Oh, like that is this way.
so her comment are just the lay of the land because it's going uphill trip hammer.
It goes uphill there.
So she's really pretty tall pine tree. I don't know how high they are, but I don't believe the home will be any higher than that. It probably
Fine.
is.
And you'd have to build on the very back portion of the lot really to block out anything.
Right. And there's there's an existing hedgerow along her north, Jan's north property line between her and the neighbor that's going to block most of it anyway. Which you can see on the satellite image.
Any other questions or comments about findings?
This one.
Just look right under this dash line, this upper dash line. The hedgerow.
Oh, yeah.
Actually, it's easier to see on the bottom right corner.
Cool.
Any other thoughts or questions about the first one?
All right.
So I believe that's change in the next. Whether the benefits sought by the applicant can be achieved by some method feasible for the applicant to pursue other than an area variance. Well, it's my understanding that if you had divided the lots unequally to make one of them in compliance, the other one would have been kind of useless, at least at present. Too small to sell under our present situation. It seems to me that there wasn't a way to do this.
Right.
That seemed reasonable. So everyone agree? Okay.
Mhm.
Whether the requested area variance is substantial. I
It's like a quarter of the size, right? So that seems substantial.
It seems substantial to me. I mean,
Yeah.
over 10,000 square feet in reduction
Yeah,
in area size is substantial. That changes anything.
You can answer yes to some of these.
Yeah.
This is a balancing,
Right.
not as strict as
Right.
use variance.
I would say it's substantial. And I think it's substantial for both of them. So when we go through this again, saying whether the proposed area variance will have an adverse effect or impact on the mental conditions in the neighborhood or district. I don't believe so. They were in agreement, no. Whether the alleged difficulty was self-created. Well, yes. Yes, because they decided to subdivide. If you'd kept it all in one, as one parcel, this wouldn't. Okay, well, then in that case, we have gone through the findings, and so we need to determine whether we will grant or deny the variance. To grant the variance.
So moved.
Right, is there a second? John seconded. Is there any more discussion? All right, all those in favor of granting the variance? Aye. Motion carries. I know everyone. This is it. This is our full strength of our BZA. We're down a person. So we're looking for a new member. So that takes care of lot A1. Anything else?
This one, there's a public hearing.
You want to close the public hearing? No, we have to-
Whatever you want to do.
Or leave it open and do the second one? Can you do that? Why don't we leave in property? Okay, so now we're going to go through the same thing for lot A2. In this case, this is appeal 2022-03 for the same owner proposing a subdivision of the existing road, which contains 1.92 acres. So it's exactly the same as the other lot. They're both the same size. Very little difference.
Very, very close.
Lot A2 would be 0.95 acres. Right, the other one was 0.97, 41,287 square feet. The minimum lot size as per village code is 60,000 square feet. The applicant is asking for a variance resulting in an 18,700 square foot deficiency. The other one was 17,000 feet. So let's go through the findings. Whether an undesirable change will be produced in the character of the neighborhood or detriment to nearby properties will be created by granting the area variance.
I mean,
No, same as before. No. Whether the benefit sought by the applicant can be achieved by some method feasible for the applicant to pursue other than an area variance. No.
No.
The wording of this is so awkward. I've always stumbled on it. Whether the requested area variance is substantial.
Mhm.
Whether the proposed area variance will have an adverse effect or impact on the physical or environmental conditions in the neighborhood or district.
No,
Whether the alleged difficulty is created.
yes.
So it is hereby determined that the Village of Lansing Board of Zoning Appeals, the following variance is, may I have a motion to grant variance? John moved. Is there a second? All right, you can vote, you know.
I am voting. I'm just not moving.
You're just not moving. Okay. Are there any discussion? Got it. All right. All those in favor? Aye. None? All right, the variance is granted.
Great, thank you.
Welcome. So this goes back to the planning board, yes? Have fun.
And
What's the timeframe? When can I hoping to build?
Oh, yes, may I have a vote, may I have a motion to close?
When are you hoping to build? Is this happening like soon or?
Yeah.
We have a,
Cool.
John and Roy.
John and Roy.
But you haven't even started the design process.
Mike's turn on that.
It'll be,
Sure.
force them, stalemate them.
We have a motion, and then a second to close the public hearing. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? All right, that carries. So now,
Yes.
okay, who's out of the way? Here. Hi, Michelle.
Thank you all.
Welcome. Good luck with your project. Okay, so our next item is to consider another at least one in place. So we're going to have sort of the same issue. And this is, Michelle. I know this house very well. You're in. That was the Gottfried's house, and I can't tell you how many community party caucus meetings and annual meetings in that house. Great house, really a nice house. I hadn't realized that you bought it
10 years ago.
10 years.
Time flies.
No, it's a great house and a lovely garden.
Yes,
So this lot is to the south of that?
yes.
Uh-huh. I wasn't
It was
even,
originally 2 lots.
Right.
Very similar to the last.
uh-huh. It was conveyed from, I guess the original lot was conveyed from Doc Fisher. The airstrip, you know, Sundowns Farms was his,
Oh, I didn't know.
and he had planes would fly in and out of there in bad weather. And it was too foggy up at the Tompkins County Airport. People had permission to land on that. I think small planes. I doubt very much that anything larger got to land there. But he said, when he was alive, he said there had been occasions when commercial aircraft would land on that strip. So who knew?
So why were so many properties joined like in the 80s? Like one of my friends has a plot of land that has $17 of tax a year on it. I don't understand
I know.
any history here, anyone?
For tax purposes, probably.
Okay.
Maybe, yeah, I think for tax purposes, maybe consolidating made it
Mhm.
easier. We need to open the public hearing now. Could I have a motion to open the public hearing for this
Also move.
request? Roy, and second? John, thank you. All those in favor? Aye. So the motion, public hearing has carried.
And the mailings, I do get the mailings for those as well as the last.
Okay. Mike says he's gotten all the mailings. Or you have
Yeah, just so-
confirmation that everything
just so
got
it's on the
mailed.
record, I don't get in
Okay.
trouble.
You won't get in trouble. So this public hearing is to consider Michelle Benedict Jones, who's proposing a subdivision of an existing parcel located at 1016 Cuba Heights Road. It contains 2.2 plus acres, 99,000 square feet, located in the low-density residential district. Parcel A would be 1.38 acres, 60,000 square feet, and contain the existing home. Parcel B would be 0.906 acres, 39,000 square feet, and a new buildable lot. Parcel B does not meet Village Codes Section 145-39E for minimum lot size, 7 acres, 60,000 square feet. And so it would require an area variance. The following is the appeal request. Appeal number 2022-04, a variance for parcel B for 20,535 square feet. So now what we need to do is go through. Oh, well, actually, do you want to just tell us a little bit about the project before we go through?
I don't have any plans, actually.
Okay.
I moved downtown and I would really like to keep green space for me and my family. I don't have any plans to build.
Okay.
But you guys are selling then parcel A?
That's right. That is under contract.
So, oh, you're selling it. Oh, and you are moving downtown. Oh,
I've already moved. Yeah.
too bad to lose you from the village. Sorry.
I assume your buyer's aware of the,
Yes, we're waiting for all these approvals.
Right, okay.
How long have you been under contract for? Is that recent or?
Recent. I would say mid-April, couple weeks.
Cool.
Okay.
Michelle hired me a week ago.
I don't even think it was, was it? Yeah. no.
And your sense, Gary, is that this is also completely feasible from an engineering
Yeah, this is
perspective?
actually easier because there's no creek running through the property, so. And, like I said, parcel A is conforming, so there's no issues there. Parcel B also has the benefit of being on Cuga Hills Road as well. So, even better, you don't have to have another drive, Cuga Heights Road, which is highly traveled. You could put a driveway up to Cuga Hills Road if they so desire.
Not another, yet another Hugo Heights Road.
Right.
I think it has come to our attention, concern about stormwater runoff in any new construction. That's something that's taken up by the planning board. Stormwater maintenance, stormwater control is super important in the village because everything drains to the lake in about 5 minutes. I live on one of the creeks and it's just astonishing to me how inelastic the system is, how quickly the creeks rise.
Right.
And heavy water flow. So it's a concern. Everything's downhill.
Right.
We all live downhill of something, downstream, I should say. So that will be a consideration, but that's the planning board to discuss.
Right, exactly. Yeah.
Okay,
And that'll be an issue.
When she goes to get a permit, if she ever does decide to build,
right.
that'll be taken care of then.
Right.
Because who knows what you guys will do with the laws between now and then.
Well, they'll all change.
Yeah.
Just with the snap of a finger.
And just to confirm, there is municipal water.
There
Yes.
is municipal.
Yeah, and
So
there's
no well.
proposed sewer, but again, we just don't know what the final analysis will be and what will actually finally happen.
I sat in front of this
Town of Lansing Planning Board on that sewer project 12 years ago.
before I got my license.
Sewer committee, when we were looking at whether to run it down Cuba Heights Road, East Shore Drive, or the old railroad, the old short line.
Well, when I was looking at it, it was for the,
Subdivision that
they're putting in, or
Up above,
proposing across from the end of Hillcrest.
right,
And the plan then was to pump
that up Hillcrest to Warren Road and then let it
yeah, put in a pump,
come back.
crazy. Well, the area, putting this stuff in is really. Any other comments or questions before we go to the planning?
So this shed is on village land then?
That shed is actually a water pump house
Oh, okay.
it's village owned in coordination with.
Golden Point.
Cool.
The pump station? Oh, didn't even know that was there. Wow. All right, well, should we go, I'll go to. Detriment to nearby properties will be created by granting.
or any feedback from the mailings that went out. Is anybody opposed to it?
No, the only thing from Mr. Rubenstein that he was concerned about something being built there, like Linda just said, and the stormwater running down on there, which wasn't taken care, it probably would be taken care of with the planning board, would be taken care of out of my office through the site plan.
The engineer.
Yeah, and that's how we handle it.
And we have lots of requirements for stormwater management anyway, with any new construction, and that's by state law.
And just that pump house, technically a pump house, but it's actually a reducer because the water starts hitting downhill and starts increasing so much pressure at that point
It
that
would blow out your.
it would
it
pretty
blow
much
out
blow
both sides.
everything up
Right.
down below. So it's big. So it doesn't mean anything, but
Pressure valve of some sort.
And generally, just so you guys know, generally any development that's done now generally improves the stormwater situation because there are so many regulations we have to follow.
Except that for the fact that any new development, it just necessarily puts in impermeable surface.
Right.
And that's what exacerbates stormwater. So it's paving and rooftops for the most part, and hardscaping, even lawns. Lawns do a very poor job of controlling stormwater, as we've learned. You really need woody plants, you need good buffer zones, you know, you need strong vegetation to really slow the stuff down. This went through the first finding, and does everyone agree that it will not change the character of the neighborhood? All right. Whether the benefit sought by the applicant be achieved by some method feasible for the applicant to pursue other than the area variance.
The original parcel is just not big enough, so.
No, I would say no. Whether the requested area variance is substantial. Well, as in the case with the last one, yes, I think it is substantial.
What was the differential on this one?
It's bigger. Eight.
Gotcha.
I'm sorry, not 8, I've gone on the wrong one.
Yeah, I think I lost
What
the
is it?
page, but.
That's the page.
Not a big deal.
This one would be 0.906 acres, so smaller than the other two.
It's smaller. So it's a larger variance.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Oh, yes.
a 20,000 square. Yes, it is substantial. Whether the proposed area variance will have an adverse effect or impact on neighborhood or district.
No.
I believe not, with my caveat that, you know, when it comes to the design phase, those kinds of things are taken into consideration, but that we can't lay conditions on granting this variance. Whether the alleged difficulty was self-created. Yes.
I thought we can do conditions, which is indicated right there if we want to.
What's that?
I think we can do conditions, at least that's what this page says.
Yeah, you can. We can.
But the condition is that they follow the law that already exists.
Right.
Mike would have to take care of.
I mean, but we can't, I can't tell them that they have to plant 50 trees.
Can't we though?
No, it's really up to the planning board to do
Planning
that.
board, yeah.
Planning board does that.
Okay.
Planning board that, you know, this needs a buffer strip, or this needs, you know, it's. I kind of, yeah, it's a little wobbly. All right, so what we need now is a motion to grant the variance. Could I have a motion to grant the variance? John moves. Is there a second? Second from Roy. Any discussion? Any more discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Nobody? So motion carries. Variance is granted.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I look forward to seeing. So. And could I have a vote? Sorry, could I have a motion to close the public hearing? On favor? We have minutes?
No.
Not yet,
I
okay.
failed.
No, you haven't. I hate the minutes. I hate doing minutes. Oh, dear. I hate doing minutes, and I don't envy you having.
I should be up to.
Don't worry,
Board, BZA, and planning board.
it's busy. Yeah, and we don't usually have this many BZA meetings so close together. Any questions?
When is the planning board meeting next week?
That's the planning board next week.
Monday?
Let's see.
Monday.
Monday.
It would be Monday of next week,
7.
and then it would be Tuesday, the 24th, right? So it's it's not till the last.
Back from Virginia, and if I'm not back in, that be a problem. Could I call on the phone?
You can call on the phone and if there's a
Okay.
question, then.
Yeah.
You know, distract you with this question at that point, but I'm assuming at this point, there's not gonna be a whole lot of questions. I think the issue, is the actual variance.
Right, okay, I should be back, but just in case.
Okay, I'll send the Zoom.
And I don't need to mail anything or.
Nope, you're done mailing for.
Bye, Michelle.
Thank you, good seeing you.
Yeah, good to see you.
Okay, I will too. Sounds good.
If you're on vacation. No.
Depends on what we're doing.
Thank you for coming in.
Yep, no problem. Thank you, guys.
Now, since we minutes,
And that's that then, right?
that's that. We're just a bunch of pushovers. I think we've all been incredibly reasonable.
I mean, more buildings are nice, right?
Yeah,
Need more
especially if they're
housing.
done the right way, you know? And infilling is important. It keeps sprawl from happening further out.
And because if this sewer project does go through, it's
Then
gonna
we can
it's gonna
do-
change. I
Bill?
think that area could possibly be easier for people to get subdivisions
Oh,
because
yeah.
of the lot being so much
Right.
smaller.
The minimum lot size.
You may run out, you may not have low density residential anymore
Mhm.
in the future. Who knows?
It might be just all medium.
Is there any news on that? I'm guessing not.
Waiting, right now, we're waiting for bids to come out to see what the actual price is.
And everything's gone up because you
Yeah.
can't get pipe, you can't get fittings. It's just, I mean,
It's coming in or?
I don't know when they're due out there, John Courtney. I think next week they're just the 12th.
Well, I thought you said the 10th,
10th, okay.
the trustees meeting. That's-
Let's I'll tell you what to do, but let's close this out.
all right.
Yeah, close this.
Okay, could I have a motion to adjourn? John,
Do we adjourn?
second?
You bet.
Roy, all those in favor? Adjourn.
Now I can ask